Thanks for tuning in to another episode. This is Everything Happens for a Reason, but what the fuck? Hi, guys. Welcome back to Everything Happens for a Reason, but what the fuck? Today's episode is season 2, is it episode 4? I think it's episode 4. I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's episode 4. So today's episode, I kind of just wanted to start in on, just being real, kind of telling you what I'm working with, what I'm struggling with right now, and yeah, just kind of giving you maybe some advice and how ways that you can compare and contrast with my struggles and kind of maybe learn from things that I'm doing wrong. So first thing I want to talk about is obviously when you go into like a new job, it takes time to build your clients up. Um, that's always tough. It's always hard to kind of, especially if you're commission, meeting people and all that jazz. So I kind of want to talk about when you have a job that you have to do that kind of forces you to be social, even sometimes when you don't want to be social. So something I'm struggling with a lot lately is that I always have to be 100% like positive, upbeat, personable whenever I go out in public, and I kind of just always have to be like everyone's watching, even if no one's watching, just because there's that odd chance that someone important is watching and I need to carry myself in a good way. I experienced this a lot in track. My hometown was not very big, so it was kind of like everyone knew everyone. And there were just people out there that are always looking for you to make a mistake when you're kind of being watched, I guess. I was no superstar by any means, but it kind of like, even if you're not like known very well, if you act a certain way, people are going to remember it and they're kind of going to see that. And so I got like a small break from that when I first moved here. And then obviously once I started this career, it's like restarting again. Which can be honestly super stressful because I'm human. I'm like everyone else. There's times when I literally just want to give the bird to someone, but you can't, and it's honestly about being the bigger person, doing the things that, you know, not a lot of people can do, and kind of reacting better than most people react. And that's really hard to do. Putting your ego aside is really hard for me sometimes. Um, so another thing I wanted to talk about in that aspect is negativity. So there were some girls on I'm a track coach now. Love my track team. If you're listening, love you. You're great. Um, I really started that because I want to kind of put a positive um, mental outlook on track, because when I went through it was kind of the opposite. I felt a lot of times that my performance is what made me a good person, or the opposite. If I wasn't performing well, that I wasn't good enough. And I kind of talked about that last episode, but you're going to have people. I told this to one of my athletes the other day. You're going to have people who are negative about everything you do in life. You're going to have someone that tells you that you're not doing well enough, you're not doing enough, or whatever you are doing is just not where they want you to be. And I want you to think about where you want to be. If you're satisfied with where you're at, keep going, but take a moment to be proud of yourself. You're killing it. And if you're not satisfied, figure out ways to make yourself satisfied. But you have to give yourself credit too. Like you're starting some people are starting something new, sometimes people have been in something for a while, but you're going to make mistakes, you're going to do things that you don't like doing, and it's just part of kind of sticking through that and doing the hard things that not a lot of people will do, and being resilient. I've learned that a lot lately. I am starting out and it's slow, and a lot of people at this time would be done, they'd quit, but I am just far too stubborn. I'm not going to quit. I just I know I can be successful and I'm going to be. It just takes time. So the last thing I kind of wanted to touch base on is kind of like self-identifying, how you can self-identify when you're starting something new. So if you want to be someone successful, start identifying yourself as that person. And honestly, just put your energy into that. Put your energy into being the person you want to be. I kind of talked about that a few episodes ago. And then another thing, what was the last thing I want to talk about? Oh, like social interaction. So sometimes it can feel burnt, like you can feel burnt out when you have to do social things a lot. Like for me personally, sometimes I just don't want to go to those social things. And yes, it's part of like taking care of yourself and kind of assessing where you're at. But if it was me, I would never go to a social thing ever. I would stay home and do nothing because why not, right? Um, and that catches a lot of people off guard because I am a very social person, but it's just because I force myself to go to things because I always end up having a great time. But for me, getting there is like so draining. Um, and I think that's partially because I feel a lot of times that when I go to places, I am very energetic, very hype, and sometimes it's just exhausting to keep that energy up. So I just want you to, you know, assess yourself. If you're really not feeling it, stay home, take care of yourself. But if you're just throwing up excuses because you don't want to get dressed, go get dressed and go. Just go because you're going to have a great time. And even if you don't have a great time, you'll learn and you won't do that again. Um, but you never know what opportunities are around the corner. So what I am doing now, this really doesn't benefit you, but it's going to benefit me, is I am doing a kind of telling myself this is a kind of a video that I can look back on and just see where you're at. So I would suggest you do the same thing. Take a video of yourself and kind of say where you're feeling, honestly, how you're feeling, if you're feeling great, if you're feeling bad, and look back on it because it's cool to kind of either if you're celebrating, it's cool to be able to look back on the celebrations when you're having rough times, or if you're having the rough times, just when you're in a good place, you're like, wow, I'm not going through that anymore. And I got through that. So celebrate your successes as they come is number one. Um, Gauge your emotions and your feelings on whether or not you want to be social, how you're feeling. That's your job. That's no one else's job. How are you feeling? Do you want to go? Do you want to do these things? Make a list for yourself, something you can get after every day. Be okay with negative impact. Be okay with people telling you no. Be okay with someone always having something to say. That's just how it's going to be. You can have 5 minutes. I always tell everyone this. You have 5 minutes to be pissed about it. You have 5 minutes to be angry about whatever you're thinking about. After that 5 minutes is up, now we start thinking about how we're going to fix it or how we're going to not retaliate, but like how we're going to do better from here on out. You don't need to spend any more than 5 minutes dwelling on something that someone spent 2 seconds writing, especially if you have a comment or someone says something and it literally takes like 10 seconds for them to say that or type it up. You should not spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it. Okay? It's not worth your time, not worth your life. All right? So, as always, you might not be the smartest, funniest, prettiest person, but the one thing you can be is the kindest person in every room. Thank you.